From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Perez Hilton. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Jeff Cesario with the sports. And now, it was so smoky in LA today, he wore a mask on the horse trail voluntarily. Adam Carolla.
Get it on. Got to get on a church. Get it on. Ooh. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian?
She tasted like champagne.
Is that Perez Hilton?
That's an old Perez Hilton from the radio show.
We will talk to Perez, old friend Perez, in a couple of few. I had a few thoughts. You guys tell me if this happens in your life. It's fairly reoccurring in my life, which is Max Zapata. Have you been around me and Mike August when we talk to people about the naked picture of Tom Dreesen at the Improv?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I just interviewed Tom Dreesen. Tom Dreesen's
It sounds like you just passed him like a Russian code. Someone on a park bench. You don't want to get like information.
Oh, yeah.
The eagle flies backwards at midnight.
Yeah. So Tom Dreesen's a legendary stand-up, came up with Letterman, opened for Frank Sinatra famously, toured the world with Frank Sinatra for 14 years, but opened for Sammy Davis Jr. and been there, done that. You know, done Letterman 40 times and done the Tonight Show 60 times and all that. And Mike August and I, and I'll hurry up with the story, but so we can get to the part that's important. Mike August and I, Mike used to watch comedians at the Improv, the Melrose Improv, all the time. And I used to go there in the early 80s and wait in line to do the open mics in the early 80s on a Sunday night. And it always struck me that there was a picture of a comedian, a naked comedian, that was on a poster. Back when it was a novelty, if somebody made a picture into a poster that wasn't Farrah Fawcett, it was like a civilian into a poster. Anyway, Mike and I said to Mike one day, I said, Mike, remember that picture? Was that Tom Dreesen who was wearing the Cubs ball cap and sort of had his ass turned? And he did a move where he stood sort of three-quarter where you could kind of see one cheek, and he turned and he was wearing a Cubs hat. And he said, Mike August said, yeah, that was Tom Dreesen. They used to have that poster up behind the bar for a million years. And I said, yeah. So I thought it was Tom Dreesen, and Mike thought it was Tom Dreesen. But one night we were at the Improv, and we were talking to like someone behind the bar, and we said, remember that old poster back there, the naked comedian? Was that Tom Dreesen? And the guy's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We said, but back in the day, there was a poster of a naked guy. And he's like, I've been here for 20 years. I don't remember any poster. Like, naked. And then we found like the manager, and we talked to guys who worked there in the 80s, and we would talk to guys who like booked the room and went there all the time, and we go, that old poster, there's an old poster of a naked comedian. Was that Tom Dreesen? And they'd go, I don't remember any poster. And I was like, I was going nuts.
It deepens because I don't know if this is the bartender, but wasn't there a famous bartender at the Improv who was there for some 30 years or something?
Well, we should have dug him up. I don't know if we spoke to him, but everyone we talked to who had either had some experience working the club or booking the club or working at the club way back when told me and Mike we were nuts and they had no idea what we were talking about. And I was like,
very Twin Peaks.
This is insane. Because Mike's all over the road in the memory department, and maybe I am too, but we both remember a poster of a naked Tom Dreesen, and it wasn't there for 18 months. It was there for 15 years, right behind there, every time. And everyone just looked at it and said, we have no idea what you're talking about. And so finally, I cornered Tom Dreesen out front of the Laugh Factory some months ago, and I went, first off, was there a poster of you naked? And he was like, oh, yeah, it was behind the bar at the Improv for many years. And I was like, of course it was. Why won't anyone go along with this story? And I said, well, what was this? I thought it was his album cover. I thought it was comedy art. I thought it was some sort of promotional thing. Right. I said, what was the story with that?
This is a mystery for Mike Carano.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I
took all the pictures for the Improv for decades.
Yes, we should ask. Now, so this is not that. So what happened is Tom Dreesen is doing Letterman's show. Letterman Dreesen is one of the first comedians Letterman meets when he moves out here to California and parks his pickup truck out front of the Comedy Store. And Dreesen is already established, and so him and Letterman become old friends. And he's a guest on Letterman, I guess probably in the mid '80s. And he pulls out a Cubs hat and he says to Letterman, "I brought you a gift," knowing Letterman's, I don't know if he's a Yankees fan or maybe he's in whatever team's an Indiana fan. And he hands him the Cubs hat, and Letterman, probably just because the cameras are rolling, takes it and like throws it, in a way to dismiss it. And they get into a fake argument about it, and Tom like throws a chair, and it's a thing. And then later on, Tom's brother's a professional photographer, and Tom puts on the Cubs hat, takes this like nude picture of himself, says like, "You can take anything, but you can't take my Cubs hat," kind of thing, sends it to Letterman as a private joke to Letterman. Letterman then blows it up, puts it in the back of women's magazines and men's magazines, and puts like escort numbers and services and stuff, and essentially scatters it all over the place and essentially humiliates Tom Dreesen, who took this naked picture and thought it was kind of between the two of them, like Captain America did with his dick pic the other day, right?
That's right. Yep.
So, of course, the thing gets blown up, it gets spread around, and it ends up behind the bar at the Improv in Melrose, where it was there for many a year, except for nobody who ever worked there has any thoughts about it, except for me and Mike August. But we're not nuts, because that's where it was, and that was Dreesen's ass. And it was never an album cover, and but the thing that was funny about it back in the day, it looked like it was professionally shot, which now you can do anything on an iPhone. Right. But back then, like there was such a thing as photography, and this looked like a photography. So I always thought it was his album cover or something. But yes, Gina.
Conspiracy theory. Somebody in the Dreesen camp, perhaps Dreesen himself, finally had enough, wants it down, and the employees were told never to speak of it again.
I don't know how it worked.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, what do you want to drink?
It was a Goodfellas situation. Everyone who knew about the photo was killed.
Right.
Here's what I have learned in life from speaking to many people about many things. People need a setting, and that setting is, I don't know. I don't recall, but it's certainly not saying it wasn't there. They just go, nope. I worked there for 10 years, never saw it, doesn't exist. And that's what everyone does that for everything now. And so that leaves Mike and I with our vague recollections about this poster, talking to someone who worked there, saying we're nuts. We know what we're talking about. So that was the Tom Dreesen.
Burned down 30 years ago.
Helen Large Marge sent you.
Yeah.
So that was that story. Finally figured out that story. It's my dad's birthday today. I think he's 89 years young.
Oh, boy.
I was sitting across from him the last time all my dad really has is his trumpet and his books. Those are his two things, his trumpet and his books. And he lives in a very modest house, probably 1,000, maybe 1,100 square feet, very small, in the valley, and he just sits in his sort of den living room, and he has his books, and he has his trumpet and trumpets. And I sit across from him, and behind him is his bookshelf filled with books. And I was just sort of talking to him, and I was looking up, and I saw Dennis Prager's Rational Bible up on there, and I said, oh, all right, well, that's nice. He's reading Dennis Prager's Rational Bible. And then we started talking, like, well, what's up with you? And I said, well, I just dropped my sixth book, and so that's out as we speak. And then I looked back up at the bookshelf, and I thought, I don't see any of my books on that bookshelf, which, by the way, just faces me when I sit. I sit across from him. I got up and took a couple of pictures. It's not a large
they're shrinkage
bookshelf. You can see my dad's head down at the bottom of the picture, and then right behind him is said bookshelf. And I thought to myself, I got a lot of books. And the thing about, now here's how you know, here's where the commitment comes in. My dad loves reading, and he likes comedy and he likes reading. So it's bizarre. I made a Reese's peanut butter cup for him. I understand he's not into vintage racing and he's not a logger, but he does like reading and comedy. And that's where the interesting non-commitment to family kicks in, which is you think you're going to build some bridge from, well, he likes reading and he likes comedy and you like football and you like boxing. So how are you going to build this bridge? You realize once you write the books and your books are comedy and they don't buy those books or they don't read those books or they don't avail themselves, you realize there is no bridge.
What else can be done?
There is nothing. I guess I could write Adam Carolla's History of the Flugelhorn, Part 1. You know what? Make that up in Photoshop. I'm just going to put it around Moby Dick. Just make the jacket, put around Moby Dick, and I'll just wave it around. We'll see if my dad wants to see it.
Actually, title it Dennis Prager's History of the Flugelhorn by Adam Carolla.
All right, forward by Adam Carolla and Chuck Mangione. All right, so that was interesting. I was just looking at this wall of books going, why? Now, to be fair, I didn't go into his bedroom. All 6 of them could be piled high on his nightstand.
Display, yeah, exactly. Like a retired jersey.
He has to keep him by the bed. He reads a chapter a night before bed.
How atypical is this behavior? Does this seem in a non?
It's not atypical for your family,
right?
I was gonna say for you,
but in general, like wouldn't one who appreciates books, buys books, and sits and reads books all day long? Why?
Okay. Yeah, just to put this in a little bit of perspective, Steve Grad, my father, has framed pictures of my dance recitals from my gawkiest of years all over the house because he has such nachas, such pride in his daughter and his family.
Yeah.
And I haven't written a book. All I have are old dance photos, and those are framed.
Are these pictures before the nachas started growing? So
this was pre-nachas.
Pre-nachas. Okay,
Yeah.
so
we got it, everyone.
So
But
tasteful.
But he also has my New York headshots up, and those are nachas heavy.
I get it, man. You got to work, man. Sometimes you got to show a little cleavage. You get that gig. Yeah. Anyway, I started thinking like maybe I should just come up with like a vacuum foam made book of all 6 of my books just piled together, like what you do if you made a safe. There was really no book, and you could just put it up in your bookshelf and stack other books next to it. Although, I'm trying to think who would buy this other than my dad, who wouldn't buy it. But yeah, I was just looking up at this wall of books, going, I write a lot of books. I wonder how come none of these books are on it. And again, it's not like he's, his English is okay, speaks broken Italian. He's from the old world. It's like he loves reading comedy, which is the bizarre part of this. All right. But on a newer note, we'll get back to Gina in a second with her dad, because I do want to talk about that subject. I am slated to leave right after this show for... Where am I going?
Nashville.
Tennessee. Yeah, I'm going to Nashville. I'm going to Tennessee. I'm doing a thing for Nissan, which is, 40 minutes out of Nashville in Tennessee. Nissan used to be out here, but of course we put an end to that. So they moved to Tennessee. And I'm leaving directly after the show. It is me, Chris Maxipata, and Matt D'Andrea. We have 3 first-class tickets purchased by Nissan. And we shall be wheels up as soon as the show ends to go out and do a bit. I will be broadcasting, as it were, from Tennessee tomorrow. No interruption in the show. I walked out of the studio after talking to Tom Dreesen 20 minutes ago, and Matt said, and this is Matt Fondelier, he said, there's a first-class ticket for Chris, and there's a first-class ticket for Matt D'Andrea. Yours has been canceled. I said, well,
What?
who canceled it? And he said,
course.
Delta says yours is canceled, and there are no more first-class seats. I said, well, Nissan just booked 3 first-class tickets, so why would Nissan cancel the tickets for the guy they're flying out to do the corporate gig for? Well, that's what Delta says. So that was the last I heard. And then now the idea is get a ticket on the plane somewhere on the plane. Of course.
Well, Matt or Chris are going to have to flip for that seat.
First class is full. Matt, did any updates?
Yeah, we got a Comfort Plus seat, so you'll be swapping with Chris Loxamana.
Oh,
And to Chris, every
there you
seat's a
go.
first class seat.
And also, I just want to say for the record, I did not book this flight. If this was booked by me, everything would have been perfectly smooth.
That is
why I should be getting paid like a travel agent on top of my normal salary.
All right. Go look up what the average travel agent makes a year these days.
In 2020.
We'll go ahead and then
in the middle of a pandemic.
add 8% onto that, and that'll be your base.
You'll also be glad to know your TSA number is working.
Yeah. All right. So I was especially interested in Brian. Brian is my he is my divining rod. There's two guys I go to with like travel. Actually, Daniel Kellison, Danny Two Sheets Kellison is the guy who goes, oh, here's what you got to do to get in the lounge. I say, I'm the opposite of that person. I don't know. Nothing works. The mileage, the things, all the tricks, all the what do we call it? The wiring, the short. What do we call it? What's that? Life hacks. All the travel hacks and stuff that Brian's on top of all that. So now we have 3 tickets. Of course, my first class ticket was thrown away. Now I have the coach ticket. Now we're all going onto the airplane, and maybe for once it's a good time we're all going to be turning right. Because if you have to turn left, maybe there's a little more of a demarcation sort of line there.
divide.
But we're all turning right. When do I swap tickets with Max Zapata? How does this work? What is the play? How does Brian make sure that he's sitting up in first class with a different name on his ticket?
Once you get into the boarding line, you can have any boarding pass you want. They don't check your ID against your boarding pass. So just grab his and you take and vice versa, and you're good to go. You have to obviously have it through security. They're going to double check, your name and everything. But once you get in that line, in fact, if Matt or anyone were to print out your original first class ticket, the one that was canceled, but they would never know that, just bring that to the first class lounge. Say, hey, here's my first class ticket. They're not going to fucking look it up in the system. Like, all right, first class ticket, here you go.
I'm under the impression that that's not possible. I don't think they can print out that ticket. I think somehow it got canceled, but I don't know that Matt didn't book it. So I'll ask him if Matt can do it for sure. Go ahead.
Well, Brian, that's a good book smart answer. Perfectly acceptable. Here's the thing that you're overlooking. You're working way smarter. You should be working way smarter. You have your mask on. They challenge you. You'd say, I'd love to show you who I am. I cannot and will not take this mask off. I am Chris Loxamana.
How about the fact that Chris Loxamana has a crazy foreign name and I'm a A-list celebrity? Do you think that may cause some friction?
I mean, sure.
All right.
Keep the mask on. Once you get past security, just swap boarding passes. No one checks against ID.
Yeah, so you get onto the plane with it, and they don't ask for ID when they're looking at it again to get on the plane.
No.
Yeah, I still feel like get through that aspect of it and swap it in the jetway. It's just one less person to possibly go, I remember, that's not you.
That's a good point. You could be recognized. Keep the mask on. Do it. Yeah, he can sit down in the first class seat, keep it warm for you, and then do a little switcheroo.
I don't even want him to sit in it
No,
because I feel it's going to look
question.
like a swap
Yes,
at that point.
agreed.
I think you slum it with me and we'll both enter late.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Poor Chris got screwed out of a first class ticket. All right, Gina, let's talk about you. There have been questions. People like, we know why Brian's not coming in. Why is Gina not coming in? And you're going to address that.
Yeah, it's been a very tough 11 months, and we all have stuff we're going through, and of course, Brian's going through so much, but this has been hands down, no question, the hardest year of my life. Long story short, just because at this point, it is what it is. Outcome wise, I don't think we're waiting for it to get any better. So I'm a little more comfortable addressing it, but I'll keep it short. My dad, who a lot of people may or may not be aware of, big broadcaster, ESPN in the 80s and sportscaster out here in LA for decades and decades, perfectly fine. high energy, peel him off the roof, goes to sleep after everybody else, runs 20 miles a day. He's a wind-up toy, was just tired last year. And he just kept being like, oh, like I can't jog like I used to. And it got to the point where he's like, when I'm done driving, I just sit in the car for a second before I open the door. And I'm like, what the fuck what is going on? Couldn't figure it out. So he went to a bunch of doctors. They said, you're fine. We don't know what you're talking about. He finally did get diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. They said, it's really not a big deal. Actually, we'll put a chemo port in 2 weeks. It'll be like this never happened by Thanksgiving, last Thanksgiving. They said it'll literally be like this never happened. So we didn't worry about it. Long story short, he had the chemo port in. As Brian may be able to better describe, when you are on chemo, you have no immune system. Is that correct?
I mean, yeah, more or less, yes.
Depressed,
yeah.
Very depressed.
Suppressed, yeah, correct.
Suppressed, thank you. In that 2-week period of having a suppressed immune system, he got a very rare disease. Very rare, very fatal. Nobody knew it, didn't get diagnosed for weeks. He's went into the hospital and comatose. I was calling rabbis. I was being told, Gina, don't worry. I can plan a funeral in 5 minutes. This is what we do. We're rabbis. Don't worry. So this has been every day since the beginning of last October.
Let it turn to something else.
Thank you, Brian.
Just let it turn. Okay?
So, thank you.
Try to buy some time.
The good news is he finally did come out of a coma after many, many months and many rushing to the hospital right from the show because a nurse who took pity on me called and said, Gina, he opened his eyes earlier. Come in and maybe I can get him to do it again. And racing out to the hospital and hearing something you do not want to hear, which is, Steve, open your eyes for your daughter, Steve. And after 5 minutes saying, we're sorry, we thought we could get him to open his eyes. Me going, no problem, crying all the way to my car, going home. This has been since last October. They finally figured out what it was. Very, very rare illness. And he had a couple of strokes in a coma. So he's now awake. He knows who I am. That was also a hilarious point in time at the end of last year where he just knew me as the lady that came in every day, but he didn't know why.
That's how we know you.
So I put family pictures everywhere.
How old is Steve?
He just turned 70. So he was 69 when this happened.
Wow.
And
You don't know, Gina, but how do they know when you have a stroke in a coma?
They don't.
Oh.
This was after. This was in recovery, looking at blood work and stuff like that. So first of all, off the record, I diagnosed his first stroke and everyone thought I was fucking crazy. And because I came in and he was himself. And then I came in and he was staring at the wall like this. I ran to get something. Everybody told me I was nuts. He's tired. It's medication. I said, I'm not a doctor, but that's what a stroke is. Everybody told me I was wrong.
Let me tell you something. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I would trust a concerned Jewess with a smartphone over a floor of doctors. You
Amen.
care. You have that phone on you.
I know what he is like when he's not like this.
It's an interesting thing. Yuli's oil and all this kind of stuff. It's like there's all these stories of but the mom who wanted to find the cure. And it's like, that's what caring does. It's not that doctors don't care. It's that they care and then they get paid and then they go home. And
They care for 12 people at a time,
right?
Whatever it is.
Right.
And I've learned a lot. And Brian, I'm sure you have a lot to say on this matter, but boy, I knew nothing about this in advance. I know so much about the healthcare system and the hospital system. The appeals court through Medicare knows me by name. This is not my world. It became my world quickly. They want to turn and burn those beds. A hospital is not where you go to recover. It's where you go to stabilize. I did not know this. So lots and lots and lots has happened. And I've learned and grown up very, very quickly. Getting to the point of why I'm not coming in is I'm the only one who still has contact with my dad because now he's in a skilled facility, which of course has been locked down since March. I have seen my dad a handful of times since then when I always tell him I break him out of jail for doctor's appointments. of course, and this is the joke in the Grad family. He used to torture me with this, and it used to make me so mad, especially as a teenager, because I have a brother, and it used to make me so mad. He'd go, "Remember, Gina, a son is a son till he takes a wife. A daughter's a daughter the rest of her life." And I would get so pissed. And now I say that to him, and he laughs. Well, he smiles. He doesn't speak.
He acknowledges.
Yeah, he acknowledges
speak.
he can't move.
Wow.
He's completely dependent. But I know who I'm talking to. And I know exactly who I'm talking to because he's still very sarcastic. Last time we were getting off the phone, I said, "I love you," but he didn't say anything. And he usually mouths, "I love you." And I said, "Do you love me?" And I got this. This is visual. Then I'll explain it.
You were zooming. Yeah.
It's the
I got a shrug. I could take you or leave you. I laughed so hard. He's in there. So I have to be very careful because I am taking care of somebody who a stiff wind would put in the ground. And I'm just doing everything I can because I follow the ambulances to the appointments. I write all the notes. I hold his hand, which is very, what's the word when you can't open your hand?
Oh, it's like clenched.
Yeah. And, I'm the daughter. I'm the daughter that's there for the rest of her life. So I just have to be really careful by proxy because I'm the only one who's with him. So I appreciate you letting me address that. And I'm sorry that I haven't felt comfortable addressing it till now, but it's been a hell of a year.
Well, he's lucky to have you.
Thank
you. It's why you have to it's why you have to build up that goodwill. You have to be a good dad,
I'll tell you one thing, and this is talk about shit that he probably wouldn't want me to say publicly. The grad house was had its faults in the 80s growing up, in the grad house.
Too much love?
Yeah, too much love, a little loud, a little screamy, a little full of undiagnosed ADD from just about everybody, a little traumatizing. And when I moved out here and I was a total fucking mess, I'm sure you guys could never picture that. He was the one that just was on my ass all the time. I should go to therapy. So I finally agreed. And my dad, who, imperfect, doesn't begin to describe it, even though he was the best. He was also very, very shouty. I was on my way into the therapist as an adult for the first time. And he said these words, and I will never forget them. And I will always be grateful for them. I go, "Okay, Dad, I'm here." And I'm going in. And he said, "All right, have a great time. And remember, don't protect me."
Mm.
And that always stuck with me because, as you guys know, that's my nature.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't mean.
No, that's a real statement. Sorry to go all Brian Gumble on you with the But
that was a big deal. I'll never forget that.
He's kind of saying, look, maybe I wasn't the greatest all the time, and a young woman is definitely going to have to, my name's going to come up in front of that therapist, and you don't have to build a statue or a monument in my name. You're allowed to talk about me, warts and all. So
yep, and he's the best, and nobody's grown more as a human being than my dad. Nobody expected this to happen. He's always also tortured me with the threat that he was going to live till 114. So this came as a shock to all of us, and I just want to be really careful while he's here.
Hypothetically, if you were a 3 times New York Times best-selling author, would he have one of your books
In the hospital room?
No, he wouldn't.
Just
He'd have 1,000 of my books.
Oh man, I felt good for a second.
He'd build his house out of books as long as his daughter Shayna Punim was facing inside.
All right. Well, thank you for that candor, Gina Grad. I know it's a difficult thing to talk about, but I think it'll shed a lot of light to the people that are listening.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I hope that helps.
I've got a couple calls been on hold for a few minutes, so we'll try to mow through those before we talk to Perez. George, 30, Irvine. Let's see. Did I punch him up? I punched him up. Hey,
Hello?
George. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hold on a second. I think it's an old school thing. I don't know if we need it today, but it's funny if you listen to enough talk radio and stuff, like people are on hold, and then you go, hello? And they go, hold on a second, let me put down this transmission case. And there's like all this like banging and chumbling around and stuff. Don't you guys feel like in the modern era, you just have an earpiece in and like there's no difference between time to talk or let me get you off this thing? All right. Sorry, George. You're gonna clear up the Pepino Cuevas story?
Yes, I want to try to.
Please. Pepino Cuevas is a legendary boxer.
I'm glad you know him, and I just wanted to tell you that his dad used to work at a international port, and an Italian guy came over, and he will call the kids Pepino, the boys, and Pepina, the girls.
Oh, that's
that's the story
helpful.
that his dad.
I'll tell you, this is so helpful to me because, again, my nanny, Olga, speaks Spanish. And many years ago, I said to her, Pepino Cuevas. Pepino, it's a nickname. What's Pepino mean? She goes, it means cucumber. I said, Cucumber Cuevas? Like, that sounds like a horrible boxing name. Cucumber Pepino. I was like, okay, I guess he went by Cucumber. So I'm glad you cleared that up, George. That was an Italian guy who gave him the Pepino. But wasn't his first name Pepe or some version of that?
No.
Jose.
The announcer wasn't familiar with Pepino, and he named him Jose, kind of like his stage name.
Uh-huh.
And it stuck, but he even in the interviews he says, my name is not Jose, it's only Pepino Cuevas.
But there's something on his birth certificate, right?
Yes. Pepino Cuevas.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. The Italian businessman dubbed him Pepino, but there must be something else on his birth certificate, right? You guys understand there's a little disconnect here with this story?
How could that be his name before he got his nickname?
Jose Isidro Pepino. You know what I'm saying, George?
Yeah, no. His dad heard the Italian say Pepino to boys. He didn't give him the name, and he named his boy Pepino after hearing that from an Italian guy.
Oh, his dad heard him say it before he was born. Yeah. Okay, now we got it. Thank you for that piece of information. That's what you call a panty dropper at a bar. You go to a bar with college-age girls.
You think his name is Jose.
You got the inside line on Pepino Cuevas and where he got his names. Panty dropper,
I can't hear you. Buying us more Jose Cuervo?
You guys know Danny Little Red Lopez?
Does he work the door?
Danny Little, he was one of the greatest welterweights the 60s ever produced.
Oh, God, he had welts? What did you say?
Jesus Christ. Pepino Cuevas, Danny Little Red Lopez, 3 epic battles back when they would go 15 rounds, and that's with 7-ounce gloves.
They go 50. Oh, I don't need him to wear a glove.
Okay. Do you have any idea? All right. Let me just throw a few names off you just to see where we stand. You don't know Danny Little Red Lopez?
No, if he doesn't work the door, I don't know him.
All right, but you know, you saw the movie Raging Bull, right? Jake LaMotta, another great.
I love it. The guy at the front always makes me ride the Raging Bull around midnight when I'm racing.
No. You know Rocky Marciano. Do you know that there was a Rocky Graziano?
Is he in Sig App? I love those guys. I party with them all the time.
Speaking of apps, what did you say, Sig App? Speaking of that, do you have a cigarette machine in here? And I want to order some stuffed potato skins for an appetizer.
Ooh, so you stuff my potato. They usually don't just come out and say it.
Yeah, so you don't know Danny Little Red Lopez. You don't know.
I think he works in the back.
Rocky Grazia.
I'll get him.
Oh, wait. Okay, the greatest of all time, Willie Pep. Come on now.
Willie. Well, I don't know. We want me to ask him?
No. Willie Pep. Willie Pep. It's the name of a guy, one of the greatest fighters of the 40s. He fought Sugar Ray Robinson many times.
Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me get you our adult drink menu. That's on there. Hold on. I'll get you a Sugar Ray Robinson.
No, that's a different.
They put sugar around the glass. You're going to love it, sweetie.
Oh, man. All right. Keep the panties on. I'm going to the old timers bar. And scene. All right, let's see. Perez Hilton is waiting. There's a Netflix documentary Keith wants to talk
it's
about.
Amazing.
I haven't seen
Amazing.
it. Keith 41, Oregon. Keith?
Adam.
Yeah, what's going on? New Netflix doc,
yeah,
Social
no,
Dilemma?
I'm curious about your thoughts about the Social Dilemma. I don't know if Gina and Bald have seen it.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet.
It scared the fucking shit out of me.
It should be required viewing. It didn't scare me so much as empower me because it gives you all the information. Keith, just to give a quick one sentence, it's Facebook, Google, Snapchat, Instagram, all the major players in the social media market, people that used to work there tell you how the algorithms work, how they target different people and the divide it causes in the country, the dopamine spikes that it does on a personal level, how it figures out exactly what you want at that moment. And then it goes later into how it causes, world chaos and world good.
Yeah, well, man, I mean, information or the manipulation of information or the manipulation of people's opinions are more powerful than any battleship or atomic bomb, if you really kind of think about it. And there's really only one remedy for this, which is distance. You just physically have to get some distance from these devices.
But they address that because the addictive qualities in there are not on purpose. Nothing on any of these sites are there on purpose or not are there coincidentally. Yeah, it's all on purpose. They want you to be addicted. One of the main key guys in it worked for Google, and he said, but no one ever asked, how do we make this less addictive? Points out to make it less addictive.
One day there'll be one of those things about like they've done with the cigarette companies. We're like, oh, we knew what we were doing with nicotine. Like you can see interviews with some of these code guys from 10 years ago where they're explaining we're figuring out ways to keep kids coming back and more connected. But again, all the more reason to leave the phone at home and hike down a trail, everyone. The New World Order's your sanity is going to be, you're going to have to be the guardian of your own sanity, because if you want to just carry this phone around with you everywhere and check it every 10 seconds, it is designed to beak you up and spin you out. You're going to have to just get control of that. All right.
A very Twilight Zone line from the movie. If you're not buying the product, you are the product.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit GovX, and we'll bring Perez in. Military or first responder, perhaps you're one of those heroes. Visit govx.com. Sign up for free instant access to tons of deals and a community that honors your service. Your job demands a lot. Deployments, long shifts, dangerous situations. GovX believes patriots deserve special recognitions. Get deals, I should say, on the gear you need for on and off duty life. Brands like Oakley, Yeti, Garmin, Danner, and more, all the big name brands on there. Every month, GovX supports nonprofits serving military, first responders, and law enforcement communities as well. Sign up. It's easy. It is fast, and it's totally free. Become a member today. Use the code ADAM for $15 off your first order of $50 or more. GovX.com is where you go. Savings for those who serve. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll talk to our old friend Perez Hilton right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
I'm addicted to TJ Hooker now. You bastard.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Love Boat and TJ Hooker, and if there's time, maybe whatever's coming on Netflix about social media. Perez Hilton has joined us. He's got a new book called TMI, My Life in Scandal. It's available coming out October 6th on Amazon. I would suggest pre-ordering it now. And, of course, the podcast, the Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker. Good to see you, Perez.
You too. And I am bringing you the heat, Adam. And by heat, I mean talking penis. Can we?
Please. I don't have enough cock talk in my life.
Have you talked about Chris Evans yet today?
Not yet. We spoke about it
Specifically, not
yesterday.
today.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. I'm very happy because I love that right now I get to talk to a lady as well, because on my podcast, it's just me and my other dude co-host. I want to know what women think and if there is truth to this. So if you haven't heard, over the weekend, Chris Evans posted on Instagram story a screen recording of his phone that accidentally revealed a peen pic,
Right.
which the world took to believe is his. And as somebody who's seen a lot of that in my life, it's thick, it's lovely. He has one of the best I've ever seen, I must admit. But coming out in his defense was Chrissy Teigen. And she says that when she and her girlfriends chat on WhatsApp, it automatically saves their breast pics and things like that they send to each other on their camera roll. And I just find that weird. Like, why would you keep it on your camera roll? I don't know. What I do know is that he's not commented on this, Chris Evans, but his brother, who is a gay guy that I know, joked about it on Twitter, and it seems that everybody's all about it.
Well, all right, let's figure this out. I guess his brother's out, unless you just outed him.
No, his brother's out. Yeah.
And now, would it be diabolical to just get a picture of a large, girthy penis and put it on your phone so that people assume that was your penis, and then you don't confirm it or deny it, so you don't lie about it, and then everyone just thinks you have a giant hog, and we talk about it on my podcast for 15 minutes with Perez Hilton?
Genius. Yeah.
I mean, he's no longer associated with Disney and Marvel. He left the role of Captain America, so he doesn't have to keep up this image of being, sexless or whatever. I don't know. Do you have any dick pics on your phone, Adam?
No, I've often said this about my dick. It's not really worthy of a picture. And now I don't mean that in a super negative way, but some guys, I've talked about it in my stand-up routine a little bit, but some guys have those super veiny dicks, like their dicks look like Wolverine's neck. My dick is not that way. My dick just kind of looks like a white long-sleeve dress shirt. It's just not a lot of definition. There's not a lot of vascularity. Blousy. Yeah. It's, fair to middling size, It's just taking a picture of my dick would be like if there was a 2006 Camry parked out front of this building that was beige with a cloth interior. And I was like, Dawson, get a picture of the Camry. And then Dawson would go, why? And then I'd go, that's exactly why I don't take a picture of my dick.
That's what Siri says. Siri, get a picture of this. Why?
Why? Right. Perez, do you have any dick? Perez, I think, is frozen up, at least in the video department, but we can hear you okay. Are you? Do you have any dick pics floating around?
It did freeze. That's
perfect timing to all of a sudden not hear Perez.
Oh, yeah. As the dick pic mirror gets turned on you.
It's also an age thing. I think there's a window for dick pics, and I'm outside of that dick pic safe harbor or something.
The young man's game.
Yeah, it's a young man's game.
I don't think I said this on the show yesterday. Maybe I didn't. If Perez can hear us, he can confirm. I told you the reviews were mixed, and by mixed I mean men and women commenting on the dick pic, and the hashtag thick daddy was a reply. So, I mean, the man has nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do think a dick is a lot like a cup. It's like a cupcake. There's the little mini cupcakes, and those are no good. There's the ones that are like 4 pounds, and you need a knife and a fork to eat. It's like it's too much cupcake, and you go, well, what's bad about too much cupcake? It's like it's all over your face. You can't finish it. Now you got to like wrap it up, and you've eaten all the frosting off it. There's just a weird cake part at the bottom. I say a dick is like a good red velvet cupcake, and that it's that nice kind of medium sweet spot size. I don't want to put dicks in your mouth, Gina. Words in your mouth, but am I right? The miniature cupcake's like unsatisfying. I don't know why I have to eat 9 of these.
Unsatisfying.
There's
yeah.
the novelty size ones that look good, but it's like, really, I got to go out with a fork?
Yeah, what do I do with
Is
it?
this analogy about right with dicks?
It is, like those sprinkles cupcakes that are kind of heavy and
You got
girthy.
the dot on the top.
Right. Yeah, sprinkles. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's not. It takes work. I have a lot of experience with that. So when I saw the Chris Evans dick pic, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, that looks sort of familiar, a little smaller.
We still talk about cupcakes.
You know what I like? I like when you're finished with the cupcake, but you rub some of the frosting on your chest. You know what I mean? Like so
Oh, of
good.
course, everybody does that.
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
But that it's when you want your last name to be Widecock, I would be tread lightly with that because it can be too wide.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No complaints. Yeah. Lots of complaints. All right. So Perez has fallen off. We'll see if he can climb back on that horse.
I'll be curious because this is I have this for the news.
Oh, wait. Yeah. My name was Cash Widecock, right?
Cash Wide. I thought it was Chad.
Yeah, no, it's Cash Widecock.
Got it.
Spread it around, by the way.
I'll be curious to see if he has any thoughts on the new Paris Hilton documentary on YouTube. I watched about half of it today. It just came out today.
Yeah, we're now at the point where we have to respect all these people for being incredible business people? Is that what it's come to?
She has 19 product lines.
It's now come to the point where we have to respect the Kardashians and Paris Hilton because it's like, well, look what a businesswoman she is and an entrepreneur she is, and she only uses the baby voice when she needs to use the baby voice, right?
There's a lot of that in the documentary because everyone just assumes she talks like this and hey, a lot of like vocal glottal like Fry and, and then you'll hear in the elevator with her sister and she's like, "Where's my phone?" It's a very, very different voice.
You just killed my boner, Gina. I had a raging boner.
There.
All the talk about cupcakes and frosting on the tits. I was going, man, and then you dropped that.
That's what she sounds like.
Dropped that Exorcist voice in there, and it's like somebody hit her with a fly swatter that they kept in the freezer overnight.
Electric fly swatter.
Like Chris Farley in the Gap sketch, "Leave me alone, I'm starving."
Like she's saying bye in the elevator to her crew, like, "Bye, you guys. I'll see you after I get back from Korea and Geneva." Oh my God, I forgot my dog. It's very different, and you'll hear it a lot in the movie.
Max Zapata is reminding me that Dancing with the Stars airs tonight as we talk about this, and I got 5 large on Johnny Weir.
That's right.
I don't understand why you wouldn't hedge your bet with AJ McLean.
Don't. Well,
Yeah.
first off,
McLean.
unclear. AJ is 42. Johnny's 36. So he's got a little age advantage there. I wouldn't take AJ just because the odds makers have AJ. The odds makers go, he's a dancer, he's in a boy band. I would tend to take an NFL player over a boy band guy. I think there's probably a couple of guys that you're going to find and girls who may be a little more competitive than who they have. I think they reactively sort of go, well, that guy's in a boy band, so he knows how to dance, so they'll do it that way. Football players win that thing every other year, it seems like. Also,
but this is a lock because you remember from Christy Yamaguchi, this is a lock.
But she does it on ice.
I also went and looked up Johnny Weir, in his routines and stuff. He's doing triple axles and shit. I mean, he's no joke. He's a little bit of a, he's flamboyant and everything, but he does not kid around once that spotlight comes on and the music fires up. How many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 18. And what's Johnny?
No, sorry, there's less than that. The last 3 are pros.
Okay. There's 15, I guess, or 14. Oh, 15. What's Johnny Weir at now? Is he still 4-1, or is he moving off that? Brian, this seems like the kind of action you'd want to get in on as well.
I haven't checked it.
I'll take a look. We got Perez back, by the way.
Oh, Perez is back. Hey, Perez.
Damn technology.
I know. That's all right. You moved out to your patio. The thing I find interesting about Perez Hilton as I look at his bio, which I forgot about, his entire family fled Cuba from the Castro regime and was raised in Miami. It wasn't so long ago. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah. I was born in Miami. Both of my parents are Cuban. And, it's been in the news a lot lately because just yesterday, Donald Trump was tweeting about accepting a Bay of Pigs award, which doesn't exist. He just got an endorsement from some Bay of Pigs veterans. I always felt out of place in Miami for many reasons, because historically, Miami Cubans, which run Miami, are very conservative and closed-minded people. And I was born a big gay. I knew I was gay when I was 6 years old and I got naked with the boy next door. And I knew that I had to leave. So I did. As soon as I turned 18, I went to NYU and I've never moved back. But I am very thankful because I don't think Perez Hilton, as I exist today, would be here if it weren't for my Cuban immigrant parents, for the fact that, since I could remember, my parents who fled communism and started over in this country from nothing instilled in me this most incredible work ethic. They just programmed it in me that I had to work not just hard, but harder than everybody else. And I did, and I took that to heart. And also, there's a big cultural difference. In American culture, Anglo-America, the word gossip and to gossip is perceived as a negative thing most of the time. It has these connotations that are not good. But in Spanish, the translation is chisme, chismear, o ser un chismoso o chismosa. And it's actually viewed as a positive thing. Like, you want to be chismosa. You want to know everything about everybody. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have had the interest in talking about celebrities that I do and pursued it like I did.
Well, you were certainly one of the first to the game. I mean, at least to put it up on the internet. And it's crazy what all this stuff is turned into, what podcasting is turned into, what all these. I was listening. I think Chris played we did a Carolla classic that was 8 or 10 years ago. Maybe we were talking about the TV show Bosch with Titus Welliver. And I jokingly said about 8 years ago, I said, now one, and then Apple's going to have a TV network or, it's going to be running original material, and it's oh, yes, they are. So is everybody. So is everything. Everybody is creating content now. It was so narrow back in the day. It was AM radio, FM radio, handful of channels, and then HBO and Showtime, and it's now just everywhere. And how do you look at being innovative? Do you try to think of what's next? Where are people going to be getting their information? How are they going to be consuming it? What are they going to be consuming? How much of your time do you sort of spend thinking about that?
Absolutely. And I think it helps that I am so nimble. I am a person so that I can adapt. I made a gamble on TikTok to the point where people were criticizing me for it because I joined TikTok well over a year ago, in the summer of 2019, before it blew up and before the pandemic really helped it and everybody locked in their homes wanting that extra content, and especially free content that they didn't have to pay for. Now, thankfully, I have more followers on TikTok than I do on Instagram and than I do on Twitter. And they recently launched this partnership called the TikTok Creator Fund, which is like being on YouTube and you can make money from your videos. So now I'm monetizing that and it's wonderful. And it's also helped me reach a younger audience that weren't even born, some of them, when I started in 2004. So I've only benefited from TikTok, and I'm obsessed with TikTok. TikTok.
Hey,
I love it.
Perez, I'm sorry. Our connection is still a little bit shaky. I can hear and understand everything you're saying, but it's still I
can call you.
Yeah, maybe we'll try. It's still a little choppy. Maybe we'll see if we can do.
Yeah, I sent over a number.
We'll see if we can do. We'll see if we can do a call. It always clears up when we're talking about it. Oh, okay, I'll call you then. What is your phone number? It's like it's always perfect then. I've been dealing with this all day, so we'll try and do an audio version of this. Yeah, TikTok. It's so. See, here's my. We were talking about this before. All roads lead to narcissism. So anything you do that lets people, like I have an app where you film yourself shaking your ass for 20 seconds, and then we put it out to the universe. Everyone goes, "I'm in." Like
that's why the ice bucket challenge works so well. It wasn't because it was for charity or ALS. No, people get to film themselves doing something silly.
Right. All these things are about narcissism, engagement, and you. I mean, think about. Here's something that's interesting. You know, we started off the show. I was talking about my dad. Today's his 89th birthday. You could find 7 pictures of my dad before the age of 40. Like literally 7. There's like one where he's wearing a sailor's outfit when he's 5 on the roof of his place in South Philly when you'd go to the roof to take a picture. Like, go up to the roof. We're taking a picture. You know, there's 5 pictures of my dad before 40. And in total, there's probably 13 pictures of my dad. He's 89 years of age. My kids have been chronicled since the day they came out of the womb. Oh, sorry. Before that, because we have the ultrasound of them before they were born, and then there's a sex video of me knocking up their mom. So it actually goes way, way back. Medium width dick, by the way. So I don't know what this is going to do to have this chronology, this capturing of every human that's been born now from the day go to death. I don't know, Perez, any thoughts?
He's on line 1.
He's on line 1. Oh, sorry. Hi, Perez. Sorry.
I love it. You know, my dad passed away when I was 14. I wish that I had silly video of him or even more photos of him. Well, I have photos, actually, but I wish I had more video. You know, he died in 93. So, you know, we still had that big old huge clunky camcorder with you actually put the VHS tape in it.
Right.
And we just didn't take that many videos.
Chris, I sent Chris a video of a woman yelling at the cops. Chris will find it. But it's one of these things where I wanted to kind of do a segment on this show because some of it is great. Your dad's in great shape. Your mom's never looked better. They're wearing stylish clothes. They're on the dance floor. But there's also lots of videos out there now that people wish.
Scrapping with the cops.
Yeah, or doing the full Karen mask argument in a Costco. You know, that stuff's going to live on the internet forever as well. Here's one I gave to Chris. I was like, this woman's going to have grandchildren one day, and this is going to be on the internet. Play the video. Sorry, Chris.
But if you take that badge off, I'll suck your dick. Take that badge off, put that down, I'll suck the fuck out of your dick. You want to throw? I'll eat your pussy too, lady. I don't discriminate.
She's got a badge, and she's got a bullhorn, and she's yelling at the cops, take that badge off, I'll suck your dick. Oh. Take that badge off. If you play it again, you can kind of hear it. It's a little tough with the bullhorn.
But if you take that badge off, I'll suck your dick. Take that badge off, put that down, I'll suck the fuck out of your dick. You want to throw? I'll eat your pussy too, lady. I don't discriminate.
All right, I'll suck the fuck out of your dick. I'll eat your pussy too. And at some point, some 9-year-old's going to be Nana. Nana said. Also, it'd be funny.
It's a different time.
None of the cops took her up on it, but I wonder if there wasn't a guy, like a protester, standing behind her going, I got a badge. Does that count?
I'll take it off.
You know,
sorry.
I have 3 children, and I also have a plethora of cringy, super embarrassing video of myself out there. If you go on my TikTok, probably you would think maybe half or more of my videos are embarrassing. I do know that unless you're a total crap parent, your kids are still going to love you. They might be embarrassed by you, but they're not going to love you any less because you said something silly or did something stupid on a video. What matters ultimately is how you treat your children at home, I think.
Is there this danger, and maybe you could say, well, we've evolved into this, but I was talking to Dr. Drew earlier today, and we both realize as sort of old white straight guys, there's no real reverence from your kids. Like Dr. Drew's kids are always coaching him up and dressing him down and explaining to him how the world works and stuff like that. My kids do the same to me. Like nobody listens to me. And I realize when I was a kid, a dad was a dad and a grandpa was a grandpa and a coach or a teacher was like Mr. or Mrs. And we didn't even know our teachers' first names. I didn't even know my friends' dads. God forbid I knew their first name. There wasn't all this crazy video of them acting like jackasses when they were 19, which now sort of makes you more and more human. And it sort of, whatever that chasm was that we had when we thought about parents and cops and teachers, it's kind of gone now. I think everybody, your dad is kind of your friend now, almost a contemporary, not the relationship we all grew up with our dads. I'm guessing your Cuban dad, Perez, was probably old school, maybe a little traditional. I mean, you did not have, and God forbid his friends, right? Did you go up to his friends and just call them by their first name and make jokes about them or pull my finger? Like, would you do that with your dad's friends?
No, but I would get in trouble for other things like, I don't even know. Oh God, I'm so embarrassed now. Like the first and only story that popped into my mind was, I think my dad beat the crap out of me after I did this, but he had friends over and I just farted in front of everybody. And then my dad just beat the crap out of me. Like, how dare you do that? Like, I was like 12 or 13 or something. And I learned my lesson, though. That did not happen again.
It is funny that you got a fart story, but also that your dad's old school.
I used to be so fat when I was young, and I would eat all the time and eat unhealthily. So, that happens a lot.
How did you lose all the weight, however much that was? How much weight have you lost?
Well, I almost feel like Oprah in a sense that I've yo-yoed a lot of my life, and I think a lot of people have. For the most part, I think I've been able to get that under control. But then, last year happened, and it was really hard for my family. My mom had cancer, and my mom also had more health issues, and I started overeating and overspending, which is a major problem as well. Then I lost all the weight, and then I was back at my normal self. And then this year happened with the quarantine, and I have 3 small children, and I was losing my mind because they went from having school and structure to having 1 hour a day of Zoom and then nothing else. So I started to overeat, and I even started to drink. And I'm not even a drinker, but I went from drinking once every 3 months to drinking every day. So in 3 months, I gained 42 pounds.
Wow.
That took a lot of effort.
Well, and then how do you lose the weight?
So finally, when they opened the gyms up again, I said, thank God, I'm just going to go back to the gym, even though I knew it was risky. And then they closed the gyms 2 weeks later. They were only open for 2 weeks. So then I had a decision to make. Am I going to keep going down the potentially, deadly path that I was heading down, or am I just going to stop? So I stopped, and I found this. I actually found every person needs to find what works for them. Like, I know that if I'm going to, try to look up YouTube videos of people working out, that won't work for me. Or if I'll do some on-demand thing, that won't work for me. I actually found a live fitness studio that does Zoom classes. And I started to do that, and they're expecting me. They watch me live, so they correct me. It's almost like being at the gym, and you don't have to have any equipment. And it's like it saves me money and time. So I'm hooked. I've gotten all my friends to join now.
And
great idea.
Did you your 3 kids? What is the relationship you're living in now? Are you married, boyfriend? The 3 kids.
No.
How did that work out?
I am very single, but open to an amazing person. But as I talk about in the book, most gay men hate me, so I'm not expecting anything to happen anytime soon. But I live here in the main house, and behind me is a little guest house where my mom is at, and she's a big help. And also I have a nanny. I need the help because my mom also is in poor health still, even though she's thankfully cancer-free now. I think on some subconscious level, I wanted to have children on my own without a partner just because I'm a pragmatist. I know that most relationships don't work out. And I always wanted to be a dad, and that's the most important thing in life to me, and I work so hard at it. I didn't want to have to worry about splitting custody or 4 days here, 3 days there. These are my kids. If I'm lucky enough to meet an amazing guy and eventually get married, he's not going to adopt them. They're still going to be my kids, and I will be making the decisions that I think are best for them.
And how did the kids work? Did you get an egg donor, your sperm?
Yep.
Like, how did it work?
Yeah, I had an egg donor, a separate surrogate, and my sperm. So it's the same egg donor for all 3 children, 3 separate surrogates. And it was really a funny story, too, because I went to this one, surrogacy agency that everybody uses that are the power gays. And they have a VIP list of egg donors, which is all of these former beauty queens. Like, it doesn't say what their profession is, but I know, I'm like, that woman, there's a type. Like, you are a former beauty queen, you're a former beauty queen. And I ended up not choosing my egg donor from that list. I ended up choosing a normal girl from the normal list. And the reason I chose her is because, well, for 2 reasons. And you know me, Adam, I love to be honest. The first main reason, this woman that I chose looks like me. We could be related. I'm like, she could be my cousin. So I knew that if I had a child with her, my kids would look so much like me, and they do. And the second reason I chose her, in addition to her reminding me physically of myself, is that she seemed really nice. Like, I saw her videos. I did a secret Skype with her where I typed the questions and my sister asked her all the questions. And it's like dating, right? Like, as soon as I met her, like, it was more than dating. I'm like, you're it. You are the one. Like, all the answers were what I wanted to hear, and she seemed so nice. And in the future, when I explain it to my kids, why did you choose that woman? I'm like, oh, because she looked like me, and because she seems really nice. And to me, that was important. My sister and my mom make fun of me. They're like, nice isn't genetic. And I countered, well, how do you know? How do you know? Well, maybe it is.
Let's all form our questions, because I feel like if I was meeting a potential egg donor and I didn't care about, I'm done looking at the height and the weight and the degrees or the advanced degrees, or I'm done checking their gums and their teeth, I'd ask questions like, you're going out and you're going to have fish tacos. Do you get the battered deep fried on the flour tortilla, or do you get the from the grill on the corn tortilla? Yeah. And I would factor in that stuff very heavily.
You have to ask the tough questions, Perez. Yeah. They can't all be a cakewalk.
So how much does it cost? And is it true? God. Is it, they always say donate your eggs. No one's donating their eggs. They're selling their eggs, right? And if you want, Rhodes Scholar and over 5'11" and played a little semi-pro beach volleyball, you're going to have to pay for that egg, right?
Well, not just the egg donor, the surrogacy agency, the fertility clinic, the lawyer that the surrogacy agency gets you, because you need a lawyer because the laws are different in every state. There's some states in the United States where surrogacy is not allowed. And even here in Los Angeles, the law keeps on evolving. With my first child, even though he was biologically mine, my DNA, I still had to have an independent court-appointed observer come and interview me and make a decision and tell the judge, oh, he's perfectly fit and you should give the child to that person, even though it's my child. That didn't happen for my daughters who were born after my son. But it's also, something that I don't regret whatsoever, even though it cost me between $225,000 and $250,000 per child. Yes.
Per child.
Per child.
Damn.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. I fucking argued with my dad about Toughskins versus Levi's my entire childhood. Dad, it's $3, but it's such a superior product, the Levi's. Oh, son, that's a lot of money for dungarees. Jesus Christ. So
I would love to have a fourth and final, but I don't have FU money in the bank. I don't have unlimited resources because
So
I have to support my 3 kids and my mom, and my sister works with me as well. So my sister's livelihood is tied to mine. I have all this pressure on my shoulders. That's why I work. That's why I work as hard as I do. Still,
how much is
15 years later?
How much is the average egg? And then what's more expensive, the egg or the surrogate who carries the egg for 9 months?
I think the egg, because shockingly, the surrogates don't get paid that much. The surrogates make about $20,000. It's not that much.
That's outrageous.
Wow.
And the eggs are more than 20. I mean, if you want to get the right egg.
Yeah, the age, I think, of mine was about 24 to 26. I don't remember the exact age of hers.
Oh, the age of...
It's funny because I remember in college flyers all over campus about egg donation because they're 18 to 22-year-old girls. It was papered all over campus to do this.
It's a little weird and Orwellian, but on the other hand, I'm glad it exists. But it's also kind of weird that you have to pay more for the taller, smarter ones with the nicer teeth than the, I didn't even know. Is there sort of a bargain bin? Is there like...
Everything must go.
Well, they're
picked over.
Like I said, there's the VIP list, but there's also other things that you can do. One of which I purposefully didn't. If you're a baller enough and if this matters to you, you can buy out the egg donor, meaning you can pay her to not donate eggs to anybody else. I purposely didn't choose that because in the future, my kids already know their whole birth journey and how they came to be. They know it as much as they can for their ages. But when I go into more detail as they're older, if they ask any questions about a mother or siblings, I will describe it as they're people who share similar DNA. That doesn't mean she's your mother. That doesn't mean they're your siblings. Because this woman, for all I know, could have donated eggs and had, donated eggs to 30 other couples. And there could be 30 children of hers. That doesn't mean that all of those people are my children's brother and sister. They just share DNA.
It's interesting that there's the option to buy them out.
It's like optioning a book.
Yeah, what's in it for you?
What's in it for the person who buys them out?
Yeah.
Well, if you...
Just to prevent the egg from getting to someone else?
Yeah, like to have a sort of...
Out of spite?
No, it's
I don't know, yeah.
No, I think, what do I know? But it's like you would then have half brothers and half sisters sort of biologically running around the planet that you would have no relationship with, if you cared, right? I mean, that's what people are saying, right?
I guess there's people who care about that.
Yeah, they're like I hear like when
I don't care. Like,
well,
I don't view those people as my children's potential brother or sister.
Could we agree on this? That if you bought an egg or you purchased an egg from somebody and they said, you have a choice. Does this person harvest more eggs and have them fertilized or not? This is the egg. This is their egg. This will be the only egg. There's no cost. There's no penalty. There's no anything. There's just a wish. Would you prefer this or not prefer it? I think I would prefer this be the one egg. Do you guys feel that way?
I literally have no thoughts on it. I could care less about 100 more eggs out there. I really couldn't care less.
But you just flip a coin.
I don't personally, because I wouldn't, because then it almost makes it, to me, the wonderful egg donor is the wonderful egg donor. It's not their mother. She's just somebody that has similar DNA. That's why it's not important to me.
But would
I wouldn't care.
I wouldn't look. I wouldn't sweat it, and I wouldn't pay for it. But if you gave me a magic wand, I'd probably go, no, this will be the last egg, because then it would seem that there would be half biological, half siblings running around the neighborhood or the planet. Which,
you know what?
If you look at it that way,
well, it's an egg and a sperm, right?
But another way to think of it is, if I had the option, I would probably say, go donate. Like, this is your business, because I wouldn't want her to think, well, that's my kid too, and that's the one. You know, I'm kind of attached to this one now. I just go do this with your life. It's not about me and my family that we're creating.
What if they moved in upstairs to a small unit, an apartment you lived in, and you started seeing these kids that had a strange way of sort of, they seem to be a little clingy to your knee when you were walking down to the washing machine.
Just got to kick them away.
That would complicate things.
Yes. I don't know.
There are stories like that I've heard.
Well, I wonder how many ballers buy into that. Like,
I will meet you halfway, Adam, and say that I'm imagining that the majority of people who are in this market, right, to buy eggs are in maybe like major metropolitan areas like LA, New York, San Francisco, a limited number of cities. So it's not out of the question that there could be another child roaming around of that child's age, and God forbid they should meet and fall in love, and that's a remote possibility, it's not out of the question.
Have some zombies. Well, also, another thing's not out of the question is people. I think there was a Vince Vaughn movie with this as a theme about 7 years ago, where your kid could go, I want to meet the other people that bought this woman's egg because they are my half, whatever. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just a Vince Vaughn movie. But
Delivery Man,
the great Vince Vaughn. Hey, Perez, I'm going to give you a plug and let you go before we go into news, just because our technology is a little screwed up there. But we'll come into the studio when you're feeling adventurous, and we'll do it in person. The book is TMI: My Life in Scandal. It's available October 6th on Amazon, and you can pre-order it now. Podcast, Perez Hilton podcast with Chris Booker, is well available wherever you get podcasts, Podcast One, Spotify, and Apple, and all that as well, and the YouTube channel, Perez Hilton. Thanks, Perez. We'll do it longer and better next time. All right, let me hit
have a good one.
Hit Cooler Shock here. Reusable premium. Let me put them on hold there. Yes, ice pack for your cooler. It is 14 degrees cooler than ice, if you could imagine. And it's cleaner, more sanitary, no bacteria-laden water left behind. Nothing worse than when it all melts and then you got it all sloshing around in there and it's getting all furry because someone forgot about it. Made in the USA, average of 4.7 stars on Amazon, over 6,800 reviews, so you know it's good and people are talking about it. Ready in your freezer when you need it. Avoid the trip to the store during the quarantine. They got a variety of soft and hard packs, even a 16-pound pack with a built-in thermometer. So it's good for fishing and camping and hunting and long road trips and even a farmer's market. For the best price, and go to coolershock.com. Use the coupon code ADAM and get the 10% off. That's coolershock.com. Get the free shipping and 10% off when you use the coupon code ADAM. All right, so let's talk about a couple other little ditties, and then we'll get into the news. The whole I did the in vitro thing, which is weird. Drew did the in vitro thing. He ended up with triplets. I ended up with twins. Oh, yeah, you did?
We went through several rounds of it, ended up having tested naturally, but we were very familiar with the whole process.
Yeah.
Adam, why did you do that?
We couldn't get pregnant, and we did the shots and all that stuff, and just nothing was working, and eventually just this, I guess I was probably talking to Drew. out of the in vitro thing, it kind of feels like the fat guy who finally loses weight after all those years, and he got the bariatric thing. It's just when nothing else is working, this does work. Of course, we ended up with triplets originally, and then
Natalia successfully killed one.
That's right. And she's working on the other. We did then there's that weird thing where they go, would you like to reduce? And you're like, reduce? Oh. And then, God, I don't think 2 days went by and the third just kind of sloughed off or something. Like it didn't have to make that decision. Not even sure what the decision, we didn't even really talk about it. It just sort of happened that way. And yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. So that makes sense. And then Brian, you did it and then it didn't work. And then you just had Tessa?
Oh, man, it's a long story. I'll try and be as brief as possible. Because I was on Avastin for so long, a lot of doctors warned us we don't know what the long-term effects are. This is a new drug. It hasn't been studied in fertility and stuff. So you're really taking a risk. So, of course, we decided to go the IVF route, which is a lot more, safer, blah, blah, blah. And then after a few unsuccessful rounds of that, which is expensive, Adam, as you know, we actually found a doctor I sent my fucking sperm away to Minnesota in a freeze-dried thing to have it tested. I found some doctor in Oregon who had written an article on it basically saying, yeah, by all indications, it should be okay. And our doctor Dr. Rudnick gave us the blessing to try naturally. He was like, yeah, just see what happens. And boom, pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, my only memory was that stupid part where the sperm, they needed the sample, and it's like, if you live more than 20 minutes away from the clinic, you have to produce the sample at the clinic. Now, this is one of those things that I happen to know. See, my thing in life is if you go to Home Depot and you buy an A-frame ladder, and the ladder says it's rated up to 300 pounds, that means a 900-pound person could successfully use the ladder. Because if it says 300 pounds, you can go at least 300. You could double it. It's not going to break the ladder. And when they tell you 20 minutes, if you're further than 20 minutes, you have to rub out the sample at the office. And you can hear the ladies talking in the waiting room, And I was like, we're 25 minutes away from the place. Why can't I just do it in the comfort and safety of my own?
I
It's
sent mine to South Dakota or
I know.
something.
This is the rules. They just go, no, here's what's happening. Here's the rules. And I was like, we're 25 minutes away. They'll go in and do it there. And that's the part that I remember the most, the basket of porn. All right.
I can't imagine that that's part of a scientific exercise to have a baby. I mean, if somebody said that to a woman, just
oh my
really
God,
masturbate.
Yeah. Would you like to bring your own candle in?
That was the best part by far.
That's insane.
It
sounds so crazy.
Well, first, for once, my public masturbation is legally sanctioned. You know what I mean? For once.
Right.
Did it take the magic out of it? They were allowed, they encouraged by a doctor?
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, I take that back, because isn't that how they used to perform exorcisms on women?
Oh, really?
I think that's the story. That's the lore.
With a candle, or making them have
with a device.
A device.
Yeah.
I think everything that guys think of eventually goes down that direction. You know what I mean? Whenever I think about religions, how does religion work? Like when you look at the Rastafarian religion, it's like, well, women work and men hang out and smoke weed, and then they have to have sex with us when we want, but then we're allowed to have sex with anybody all the time.
The women are unclean, though. You can't have sex with them.
Yeah, and then they have to serve us. Does that seem about right, fellas? Yeah, okay. All right, it's good. Yeah, this basically, it's the same way department stores lay down the rules for their gift cards, right? Like, okay, let's see. Everyone gives us all the money up front, right? I like where your head's at, Bob. All right. It'll expire in calendar year, and then we'll keep that money if they don't come in, right?
And for every month they don't use it, we'll take a little off.
Yeah, a processing fee for every time they don't use it.
Ooh, question. let's say it's $200 on the gift certificate and the guy buys $186 worth of merchandise. Do we give him change?
No, why would we?
Well, in the form of money he must then spend at said store.
So he's got to find like a belt that costs $14?
Right, so we'll get an extra
Oh, yeah, but don't give him the money back, right?
No.
Ideally,
No,
a pair
no,
of
no, no,
shoes
no.
that cost $80.
Oh, yeah, and then he just reach into his wallet and go, okay, gotcha. Sorry, dumb question. Right,
Hey,
yeah.
There's no dumb question except for that one, but we'll forget about it.
Yeah, most of the religions, when you really break them down, you realize it was a bunch of dudes who came up with this because they're very convenient on what I like the ones where like, we don't have to shave our beards. We can't work during the day. Like, we got to chillax. Women are be working. I mean, the Muslim religions, that's definitely a bunch of dudes came up with that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the Orthodox Jews, we sit around and read from the Talmud all day. You guys get to cooking.
Oh, my God.
baby making.
If you've ever, I did a man show bit where I hung with those guys all day who wear the little boxes on their heads. This thing was built around dudes not working during the weekdays.
Yeah.
All right, let me hit BetOnline. Not taking action on Johnny Weir anymore, so says Max Zapata. BetOnline.
Bets are locked.
They're locked in. All right, well, you can get in on some of the football games. A lot of good stuff. Now, week one's over, so you got to see how some of these teams look. Like Falcons, Cowboys. Cowboys, bad call. Got them out of the game there, maybe. Maybe they're looking to come back against the Falcons. I think they will. Bills, Dolphins, Rams, Eagles. Whoa, Eagles looked rough last weekend. Sorry, Eagles fans. More options to wager than any other place online. From spreads and totals to props, you get in on season opening bonuses and wager on wins and division championships and futures as well. Head to BetOnline today. Take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. Visit betonline.ag, our exclusive partner, Podcast One. Don't forget promo code Podcast One for your sign-up bonus today. It's BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back and do the news with Gina Grad right after this.
Give me the news with Grad. News with Gina Grad. Breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad. Trouble in the Middle East. Celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Since I mentioned it earlier, Paris Hilton has a YouTube doc that is officially out today. And the part that's getting the most press so far is where she comes forward for the first time with allegations of abuse. She says she suffered as a teenage student at a Utah correctional school. We'll call it a disciplinarian school called Provo's Canyon School. Fox News spoke with 6 former students and 1 ex-staffer of the boarding school who shared their own stories and corroborated her claims of either suffering or witnessing physical and mental abuse, tackling kids and strangling kids, forced medication, beating, solitary confinement. One woman even says she was sodomized by one of the staff who was trying to inject her with something. In a recent interview with People,
Done and done.
Well, the 11 months, yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Is this a place that rich kids or rich families send their kids for discipline, like a boarding school that has a higher discipline level?
School. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, Utah has different rules. They say what? Montana, maybe the Dakotas have a little more loosey-goosey relationship with the discipline, the boarding schools. I have a clip from the show that she talks about, begging to come home.
I'm like, please, can I just go home? I've already been through so much. I promise I'll never go to a club again. Please, I can't go back to these places. You have no idea. There was no convincing them, no matter what I said. So I just didn't trust them. It made me not trust anyone, not even my own family.
Oh, weird girl voice. Girl voice there.
Told you, there's a lot of toggling between voices in this. So
I don't get. Yeah. First off, I do love the fact that everyone just hates their parents. I mean, even the Hiltons, they get. She was probably out of control when she was 15. Like her and her sister are going out clubbing in Manhattan, so they sent her to Utah. But I don't get the part where it's like she didn't trust them. Like they sent her away to this place because she was probably out of control, and Manhattan was not a good city. She was going full Green Acres in Manhattan over there with New York is where I'd rather stay. I get allergic. She want to go to Utah. Like,
Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
I get it, but you can't go to a boarding school for 4 weeks and then come back. It's going to defeat the purpose. I don't know.
But don't you usually think of boarding schools like overseas? Like, oh, I went to an all-girls boarding school in Switzerland. It was boring, but it was fine. But she got beat up in Utah, according to her.
I'm so tired of everybody. Everyone looks back on their childhood and goes, this guy was abusive, or this coach was abusive, or this whatever. Look, if you get sexually abused, you get sexually abused. The part where like you were bullied by the coach, or you're bullied by the counselor, or the teachers were mean, or they used to sit you in the whatever, get the fuck over it, everybody. Jesus Christ. It's called fucking growing up. She probably went to a place that was a little bit scared straight because they were probably going, we get a lot of socialites that are kind of out of control over here, and we try to hit them with discipline and see if we can break them down. Fine. Again, if you were abused, I'm all ears. But we have taken this definition of abuse and we've spread it out so wide and so thin now that what we used to just call discipline is now swerved into the lane of abuse. Like, if she's going to come up with specific stuff, fine. People being mean or people being tough or disciplined. Every football coach I ever had was abusive, but I didn't look at them as abusive. They were just doing their job. Like, they just wanted to win. They'd call you everything and kick your hand when you're in a 3-point stance.
Call you ladies. Even a former staffer said there was no training on how to physically restrain anyone. We just sort of did what we did. And they said 100% of the staff abused their authority given to them. So
100%?
That's what a former staffer said. That, everybody abused it.
Do they still exist?
Nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. No one knows what they're doing. Everything is... You read the transcript of anything and it's all horrible now. Like, here's what this person said. Here's what this person did. Nobody had training, whatever it is. But what happened? I mean, what was done to her? I mean, I don't know what was done to her.
I only saw the first half. I think I'll have to wait to the second half because that was just the sizzle we watched. That was just the tease.
But like, I don't know, being pissed at your parents because they're trying to get you under control as a teen. I know everyone hates their parents when they're teens, but I don't know. She probably needed to stay at a place like that even longer than she ended up staying. But either way, everyone hates their parents, including me.
Well, U.S. President Donald Trump indicated that he is open to an election debate between he and Joe Biden, moderated by Joe Rogan. A tweet put up by UFC fighter Tim Kennedy, I think we have it, says, on my podcast with Joe Rogan, he offered to moderate a debate between Biden and Trump. It would be 4 hours with no live audience, just the two candidates' cameras and their vision of how to move this country forward. Who wants this? And Trump replied, I do.
Yeah, I'd watch. It'd probably be the best form to do this in. We'd probably get more information than we ever needed. There'd probably be 7,000 sound bites of Trump saying horrible things that would definitely come back to haunt him. So I don't know how badly he wants to do this. I'm sure Biden's not going to do this, but why not?
Nothing comes back to haunt Trump. Sorry, you're dead wrong on that one.
Why not? I mean, why couldn't we do it this way? It'd be better. I mean, I would. It would be if you're looking, if you're saying, okay, what's a debate? Like, what are we trying to solve? What are we trying to accomplish in a debate? And I think what we're all trying to do is we're going, well, we'd like to kind of strip away the veneer and the husk of the canned answers or any of the or the teleprompter speeches, or we want to know long form what these people think on this subject and on that subject. Then in a way, this is kind of the purest form of that format. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a version of this format, and I like the no audience. The no audience is good because what happens is the people start playing to the 400 people that are in the room, and they start saying things that are sort of insane. Like they'll go, "When I'm in charge, I'll shut down all prisons," and everyone starts cheering. You know, they go, "Not only that, I'll take the cops and put them in prison," and everyone starts cheering louder. And it's like, your constituency doesn't agree with that. You're just doing a hook 'em horns thing when you're the University of Texas, which I can tell you the whole audience will just erupt if you yell hook 'em horns. And it's a flashback to me and Drew playing, I think it was University of Texas at Austin.
Yeah, that's the Longhorns.
It becomes, when you get that crowd who agrees with you, it comes very easy. And then they do a thing where they go, who says, all right, show of hands, who thinks college should be free for people that are in this country illegally? And everyone starts raising their hand, and there's a poor guy who's like, I'm raising my hand too, because everyone has raised their hand and like people are cheering. Right. But the audience should be, COVID or not, there should be no audience in a debate. They shouldn't be cheering. They shouldn't be saying things. They shouldn't be pandering or playing to that crowd at all. It's pretty. Yes.
Let's not forget that all anyone ever remembers for years are the zingers.
Right.
It's all about the gotcha with a clever line or whatever, or the singer.
In a weird, pure, as long as we're on this purest form, there should be no audience, and they shouldn't even film it. It should all just show up in an audio file. Like it should.
So they should go on the Joe Rogan podcast and just sit in the studio and do it there.
Yes. I'm going to go a deeper one. We should remove the names and the voice recognition, so we simply heard the audible. We'd have we're going to have 2 Asian women read the transcript, and there's going to be the subject, school choice, and then you'll just hear the one Asian woman reading and the other Asian woman reading, and you're not going to hear the names, you're not going to see him, you're not going to go, that guy's got a sweaty upper lip, I don't trust him. You know what I mean? There'll be no audience and no anything, and then we'll have our purest form of answer.
That's really
when the one
good.
Asian woman comes out with only Rosie O'Donnell, it might tip off.
That's right. Rosie's
Someone
a
starts
pig.
screaming, "You're the puppet."
Yeah, it'd be an interesting thought experiment. No names, just answers, and we just start asking questions about taxes or school or police or whatever it is, and you would ingest the information more clearly that way, more purely that way. All right. Do you guys think? The
first debate's 2 weeks from? Well, 2 weeks from when people hear this.
Is that the 29th?
That's right.
Yeah, I know. I just talked to August. Like, Trump said they do the interview on Wednesday, but you're going to be in Nashville on Wednesday, so I called back and asked him for the 29th. And I said, yeah, Mike, that's the date of the first debate. And he's like, oh, well, we could do it later then, And I'm like, no, we're not going to do the first debate. You got to pick a new date, Mike. Don't ask for dates that are circled on their calendar. And he's like, oh, okay. So, do you think, is Biden showing up for that first debate? Do we think he's going to? I know he says he's going to be there. Is anything going to come up between now and then?
It would really shock me if it did.
Come up in what way? Scandalously or health?
No, just like
situation?
like I tested positive for COVID. I'm not traveling, or we'll do it via Zoom or some version, or is it just going to be straight ahead, neutral site, orator, and both guys just standing up there?
Gina, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I thought I was, one of many people 4 years ago who was like, is Trump going to show up for these debates? Like, it wasn't in his best interest, and he did it anyway. I think Biden has not a whole lot to lose because the bar has been set we talked about on the show, the bar has been set so fucking low. They're still going with this narrative like he has dementia, he can't string a sentence together. It's like, I think we all were in agreement, but Biden's going to show up and be boring, and that's the most likely scenario. He could have a trip, could have a slip, who knows? But my hunch is he'll just be boring old Biden.
Well, that's interesting because I was going to say pretty much the opposite, which is there's really nothing in it for Biden to show up at this.
I disagree.
But people have been saying, "Oh my God, he's old, he's nuts, he's go so downhill." And then he gained so much traction at the DNC, and everybody loved that speech, and that's a high note. So why not just leave it at that?
The experts I've read, and I'm no expert, of course, is that there's enough people on the fence who, if Biden were not to show up, that would be like a disqualifying. Oh, the guy's lost it; he's afraid to show up. That would be a bad indicator for a certain segment of the population.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe even like light supporters of him too.
It's interesting because this is really less about Biden and more of a referendum on Trump. So that would make the argument that we didn't need Biden. We just got to get Trump out of there. Like Biden, I was talking to Drew about it. Oh, I was talking to August about it earlier today. There is something that Biden needs to be careful with. Biden, because of some of his wiring and then some of whatever he's going through, a little bit of an early onset something. He's got a little something going on. Has a kind of hair trigger.
Yes.
He's volatile. Like if some guy
he'll get excited and start tripping over his words.
Right. If a guy stands up in the audience and goes like, "Hey, your son Hunter Biden, was he in Burisma?" He'll go, "Hey, fatty, we'll do some push-ups." Yeah. Hey, Jack. Like, and so now I was talking to Drew about like Mr. Calm and Steady Hand having a little bit of a hot temper, and Drew said, you know, he's got a little something going on neurologically, and this is kind of part of it, that hey, old man, get off my lawn, you know, kind of thing. Do you think Trump goes in there and tries pushing some buttons to see if you can get him to pop off and kind of go, "Hey, Mr. Slow and Steady over there, turns out kind of angry." Be interesting if that's part of the strategy. All right, let me hit Madison Reed, Mr. here, and then we'll keep going with the news. Madison Reed, well, they make hair coloring. They make hair coloring for women. They made hair coloring for women, and they still do, and it's great stuff. Gina will tell you. Lynette will tell you. And then Madison Reed, Mr. is like, well, why don't we put Mr. at the end of Madison Reed, and we'll make it for the fellas. No shoe polish look, very natural. You can go look at the before and after shots, go to their website. You go there, you go to their website, you pick out the color that matches your natural color, and then that's it. They send you the kit, you put the gloves on, you rub a little of the color gel in your fingers, just run it through your hair, and then the activator, wait 10 minutes, rinse, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. Very natural, a little more pepper, little less gray. I use it. It looks very natural. It is. Madison Reed Mr., right, Dawson?
Go to MadisonReedMr.com. That's MadisonReedMr.com and use code Carolla for 10% off plus free shipping on your first box. Again, that's code Carolla.
What else we got, Gina Grad?
Akon, the singer, has broken ground on an ambitious plan to build a futuristic city in Senegal that he says will be a real-life version of Wakanda, the high-tech nation portrayed in Marvel blockbuster Black Panther. This is according to CNN and many outlets. So Akon laid the first stone for Akon City. I feel like it should be called Akonda. And said, Thank you.
Akon City sounds like a prison.
Work will begin soon. According to its official website, the solar-powered city will have healthcare facilities, offices, luxury houses, shopping malls, skyscrapers, eco-friendly tourist centers. It will be a 5-minute drive from the country's new international airport. The singer was gifted 2,000 acres of land by Senegalese President Macky Sall to build the ambitious city. Akon also says he's raised part of the $6 billion required to do so through unnamed investors.
Well, you know, we all grew up watching those sci-fi things with like the super cities with the monorail running through it. Mm-hmm. You know, Disneyland was kind of an attempt at that. It's got a monorail running through there, and the Jetsons live there and everything. And it's like, it never works. I don't know why it never works. It's 2000 and almost 21. Could we get it to work? Like, just start, you know, just the fact that you look out the window of your home or your apartment or wherever you are, and the first thing you see is these wooden telephone poles that were dipped in creosote, like turn of the century, just got all this
ugly
black sap all over them. And it's just, that thing was a a ponderosa pine that they chopped down 86 years ago, and then they stripped it of its bark and dipped it in stuff that causes cancer, and then just pile drove it into the ground and then put like an antenna on top of it and then strung wire from one to the next. Like the fact that I got a condo in Malibu, I look out the window of the living room, there they go, right down the highway.
I'm so glad you brought that up because we were driving through Malibu not too long ago, and I don't know why I just had, you have those moments where you look at something like through a child's eyes for the first time, and you're like, this fucking beautiful stretch of land, these oceanfront homes, this multi-million-dollar properties, it's covered in a webbing, a net of electrical and phone wires, just a net.
Same thing with Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, they're all little cockeyed. They've all been there since the 40s. It's a disaster. They fall off and start fires and everything burns.
We had a transformer explode a couple weeks ago.
Right. Like, what are we doing with the wooden? But they're not even metal. They're not composite material. They're not plumb or level. They're strewn about in weird different positions. They got the weird cancer-causing creosote like coating on them. Some of them have like weird spikes and they're termite infested. It's like, why don't we just start with a fresh sheet of paper, bury all the power lines, get the little generators and the solar stuff working? Like, wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
Wouldn't you and wouldn't everyone easily go get behind a proposition in an election to bury all power lines?
You would think so. You would think so, Gina. But let me tell you why I'm saying that is because on Balboa Island, where Christie's parents inherited their house from the grandparents, half the island voted to bury the lines. The other half of the island voted to keep them up.
Oh my
It was
God.
too expensive.
And that was the thing in Manhattan Beach. It went like basically block by block, but they were charging each resident of that house, like $20 grand or something. But if it was an overall California state tax that look, the whole state's on fire, and a lot of the, PG&E, whatever, a lot of this could have been avoided if power lines were buried, and they're ugly as hell. So can't we all pitch in a couple extra pennies and bury these damn things?
And in earthquakes, that's the most dangerous thing.
Oh,
damn power lines.
Well, what if I know. What if they just said, hey, people of California, would you rather have a bullet train that averaged 30 miles an hour from Merced to Fresno, or we just bury every one of these fucking lines and we'll have a ton of money left over?
That would be great.
I know it's weird. It's so old. When you see pictures from like turn of the century and horses and carts and old dirt roads, you just see all those weird telephone poles everywhere. And I was looking out my window in Malibu, just staring at one of those telephone poles going, what fucking year is it? Like, isn't this something a city and a state should figure out?
Yes.
Again, it would be nice. Any politician that just said, look, I don't give a fuck about schools and I don't care about Social Security. I don't care about the elderly and I don't care about special needs kids. I'm going to bury every fucking power line inside of 3 years in this goddamn state of ours. It'll be clean. And by the way, anyone who's ever gotten drunk and ridden a moped into a power pole, you'd be alive today.
Think of the lives.
Think of the lives. Think of all the horrible Vespa accidents that are to come, and all the bird scooters where drunken people run into those fucking power poles. Like, if they just said, that's it. I'm the candidate of burying every power line. You're never going to have to look at this. No more downed power lines. No more nothing. As a matter of fact, Dawson, you can tell Max Zapata or tell Kalen. If you go back, here's the part that I like. You go back to the Irwin Allen movie Earthquake. Brian brought up Earthquake. Earthquake, circa 1974. It was 74. Earthquake, there was a pivotal scene when like little Johnny the kid was walking across the LA River in Studio City, the one that runs next to Ventura Boulevard. And it was like, there's an earthquake, and the power line thing started falling, and the pole fell, and then the hot wire was like down in the thing, and Charlton Heston had to save him, or I'm trying to think, maybe the guy who played Shaft had to save him. I'll figure it out. But either way, that is 1974, and the exact same technology, the exact same thing. If you walk out your house, you look out the window, it's exactly the same as it was almost 47 years ago now. And the 47 years before that was the same. I mean, those things were old when the earthquake hit in 74.
And it doesn't have to be. It's not like, come on, somebody come up with a solution. The solution already exists.
If only somebody invented something called buriable conduit. Man, they'd
print money.
They bury everything that New York buried a whole train 100 years ago. And people, it's not that hard. We did it here, too. You do a little trenching. You get one of the coolest named devices ever for digging a trench called the Ditch Witch.
Oh
yeah.
Worse.
Don't be on the business end of the Ditch Witch, and they'll dig a trench, and then you take your buriable conduit and you put it in the trench, and then you run your wires through the conduit.
Does it leak? Does it poison the earth?
No. And by the way,
then we could get the environmentalists on board because they cause so many wildfires.
And save the telephone stuff for your grandma. We don't even need the landlines anymore. Whatever you're running up there, Ma Bell, we don't need that shit. We just need the power.
Irwin Allen, by the way, did not produce Earthquake. He produced the competing Towering Inferno. Mark Robson was the producer.
Oh, really? So Irwin Allen did Towering Inferno.
Poseidon Adventure.
Did Poseidon Adventure. He did all those big whatever movies, but he didn't do Earthquake. Interesting. All right, let's see if we can find that scene. I'll tell you about LifeLock. Since the start of the pandemic, there's been a 300% increase in cybercrime. Hackers are getting more sophisticated, taking advantage of teleconference accounts. Well, sure, everyone's on their computer. Everyone's on their smartphone. Hackers, they're thieves. They're smart, lazy thieves who are evil. They want to steal your information, and they want to sell it. And they don't feel like getting bit by a dog or hitting the butt with rock salt. So they just sit online and hack into all your information. Cyber criminals keep finding ways to steal identities. You could miss certain threats. If you're just monitoring your credit alone, LifeLock detects a wide range of identity threats, like your social security number for sale on the dark web. If they detect your information, they will send you an alert. Right, Dawson?
No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but you can find out if your information is on the dark web. Get your free dark web scan at lifelock.com/scan. Pick the plan that's right for you and save up to 25% off your first year with promo code Adam. That's a free scan at lifelock.com/scan and 25% off with promo code Adam.
All right, so there's an earthquake. There's the big power lines. There's small telephone pole. The kid is on a bridge. The bridge falls into the wash. He's crossing the bridge. He falls off on his bike. Takes a good spill. Lands in the wash. The dam's gonna break too. I think he's laying there on the bottom. This is all we had. Karen Black, by the way, is starring in this. The ground is moving. All the hill houses on stilts are out there. Everyone's running around. They did a lot of mileage over just shaking the camera back and forth while people were running. And then showing a lot of the same shots on a lot of the
never a good sign.
Same things. Yeah. Not good enough for Irwin Allen. The
house goes down.
Stilt house falling down the side of a canyon. Karen Black gets away. She used to do a lot of horror movies. She lands on the same piece of earth that they've been moving around for 10 minutes. And then at some point, that's her son. Her son is in the wash.
The whole house goes down.
Oh, yeah. There's
the whole mission.
Who's going to make the tortillas? All right. Now, later on, sorry, Max Zapata, but the kid is laying in the wash and the power lines that are heated up fall in there, and the kid has to escape because the water's coming through the thing. And, by the way, George Kennedy plays the cop in this movie.
Wow. Twirling a baton.
Bumper Morgan. Yeah, he then parlayed that into this. And there was a whole weird National Guard thing that had a kind of bizarre gay sexual twist to it.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you? I've told you guys about that, right?
This does not sound familiar.
Margot Gershwin or whatever his name was. Crazy name. Margot Gershwin. It was a character actor. He played a he played a National Guardsman. And he had all these like palookas who lived in his apartment building who called him gay and made fun of him because yeah, very weird and homoerotic.
Upstairs,
yeah, unnecessary. But later on, when he was the National Guardsman, talk about everything old being new again, he had the gun out and he saw the palooka guys like looting. And back then, part of the storyline was, hey, if you see a guy looting, you get to shoot him. No questions asked, right? So it's like you're the guy in the apartment building, and these guys have been making fun of you for the last 2 years, calling you gay and everything. And now you got a gun, and you just caught them at an appliance store. And you get to shoot them.
That's right. You're in the right.
Didn't we have a caller call in and say that her dad was one of the palooka guys? Remember that?
Yes, they did. All right,
Adam,
Gina.
I'm afraid Karen
Yes.
Black is not credited in the.
No. Then who was it?
Victoria Principal?
No, Victoria Principal played the girlfriend of. All right, Victoria Principal. Gina, you'll like this. Victoria Principal has a great set of tits, right?
Sure.
And literally her job in this movie was just to wear a tight shirt. And she was the boyfriend of Richard Roundtree, who was the motorcycle. Or she was the sister of the brother who like promoted this guy, was a daredevil. And she'd just stand at the bar in front of drunken George Kennedy and just open her shirt up and show her this like tight braless T-shirt thing. So Victoria Principal.
Now that's producing.
Am I right or am I right?
Yeah.
You are right.
Then that struck a chord with a 10-year-old Adam Carolla. But then the girlfriend of Chuck Heston was played by who?
Ava Gardner?
No, Ava Gardner. Ava
Bujold?
Gardner was his wife. Huh?
Is it Genevieve Bujold in the pink?
I guess that was her. Maybe I thought it looked like Karen Black, but maybe it was Genevieve Bujold. Yeah, she was the girlfriend. It was back when Chuck Heston had a bitchy wife, and it was understood that he was banging a younger chick. Yeah, that's them. Yeah, it's not Karen Black. It's Genevieve, whoever. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
You know, it's interesting for Genevieve Bujold or whatever. The biggest break in the world is I'm doing this huge movie with Chuck Heston, and I play his love interest. Like, I'm the star of this movie, and then you blink your eyes, 46 years goes by, still got power lines, and she's dead. So enjoy, everybody. Look forward. Everyone look forward to this weekend. Is she still alive? Is Genevieve still alive?
Oscar nominee for Anne of the Thousand Days.
That's right. She's 78.
I'm ashamed to admit I don't know much about.
I don't even know what that is. What year was that? Was that before
69,
this?
bro.
Oh, yeah, it was. And still alive, 78 years young. All right, let me hit Geico right now. Geico is offering you an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies. That's 15% on top of the money Geico would already be saving you if, in fact, you were going with Geico, which I highly suggest. Never been a better time to switch to Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th. Just go to geico.com to learn more. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and finish up with Cesario and all balls, all sports right after this.
It's time to break down the game film and look at the X's and O's, the KOs and the O-Nos from the world of sports. Betonline presents All Balls, All Sports.
Oh, brother! Chet Waterhouse with the BetOnline mini update, sponsored by the Hot Dog Ingredients Defense Council. You're cooking them at 500 degrees. What do you care what's in them? NFL, Rams beat Dallas on a controversial offensive pass interference call. I've seen more contact at an improv class. NBA, Danuel House officially kicked out of the bubble, had an unauthorized guest in his room, said the housekeeper clean the room now. And finally, that Bellator fighter who got hit in the nuts twice is recovering and will be singing the high stuff for Earth, Wind, and Fire New Year's Eve at the Mirage. This mini update sponsored by the Hot Dog Ingredients Defense Council. You don't know what's in fish sticks. We don't hear you bitching about them. Over to you, Jeff. Thank you very much, Chet. Let's dive into these headlines.
Well, the Rams game, that was a tough push-off call in the Rams game. It really made me realize we've talked about kicking in the nuts. Do you fake it if you got kicked in the liver and not in the nuts? You know, we were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you buy yourself some time? DBs are now doing a kind of a flop move now that never really existed before. They're calling pushing off because, let's face it, these guys are so physical and so athletic now, the wideouts, that's a real thing. And in the Rams game, the DB did a little delayed flop move, if you guys saw that. He got kind of pushed off, took 2 steps, and then kind of did a Scarlett O'Hara hands in the air move while so if you watch him,
we have it.
He's running down the he gets pushed off of a little bit or held off, and then he does a kind of whoa, lordy, and
would have set him up.
I'm a Rams fan. My feeling always is let them play at the end of the game. I don't like the bad chippy calls in the NBA. I don't like them in the NFL. I say let them play. On the other hand, there is such a thing as pushing off, and a lot of guys do it, and it makes a pretty big difference, and it should be called certain times.
Yeah, pushing off should be called more often, but yeah, the D-backs have had to compensate because they're clearly about a foot and a half shorter than most of the receivers in the NFL now. But in this particular instance, there was it was like 2 shoppers hand fighting at Ross Dress for Less. There was nothing happening at all until, like you said, about a second and a half later, like a bobblehead in the back of a Chevy, Jalen Ramsey's head just went, and all of a sudden the flags come raining out of the pockets. And the officials, this is something I don't think anybody's quite factored in yet on the NFL. Everybody's so gangbusters to get it going, and I understand it, but nobody thought, hey, are the refs ready to ref? And they're not really. There was a lot of bad calls Sunday.
That was always my least favorite part of the preseason. Hey, it's preseason for these guys too.
Right.
You don't say. You don't say. They haven't been going year round.
They also,
yeah, right.
One of my least favorite plays, but this was the way the announcer called it. Max Paz kind of on the spot. In the fourth quarter, 5-6 minutes left in the game, the Cowboy back did catch one, got blown up, and the ball came flying out. Of course, it's a no catch. But as I scream all the time, it was Amari Cooper. Yeah, it wasn't it was a he caught the ball. He did catch the ball. He then started to turn and take it upfield and got blown up immediately, balls on the ground. But I like when they go, I don't know how the ref said it out loud, but it bothered me, which is like, he did not catch the ball. It's like, he did catch the ball and then he got blown up and the ball is on the ground. It's not amount of time. It's, did you catch the ball or did you not catch the ball? It bothers me every time. My feeling is, I don't need you to do much after you catch it. If you catch it, if we can prove that you caught it, you have both hands on it, and you've secured it, and then you get blown up, then the ball's live. That's the way, because you're taking away the best play, if you think about it, the best play a DB can make. Like, if you have to think about like different positions. If you're playing tackle, a pancake block is the best you're going to do, or what have you.
Right.
If you're a DB, an interception, a breakup is good. An interception is really good. But one of the best plays you can make as a DB is having a guy catch the ball, then blowing the guy up and having the ball loose on the ground, and then having either you or a teammate scoop it and go for 6. Like that's on your highlight reel for sure.
Yeah. But they can't decide what a catch is. I think they got the Jet Propulsion Lab working on the schematics for this. It's sad because now part of the judging process is you need to make the catch and then make an athletic move after the catch. I kind of think the catch is the athletic move. That's a hell of a move. How is that downplayed? That's a catch, for Pete's sake.
I say your mom putting the name DeQuan on your birth certificate is an athletic move. So this took place a long time ago. Yes, you caught the ball, and now you're trying to advance the ball, and you get blown up. It's all an athletic move. Yeah. Now, so here's the way you can define it to me with high def. There are catches guys make where it hits them, the ball's moving around, they got like the back of their hand on it, and they're kind of trying to tuck it in, and they get blown up, and they never really had that ball. They probably would have possessed that ball, but they never really had, they had 70% control of that ball, but not 100. But then there's catches where the guy gets both sticky diver's gloves. Those are what they started with. Those were diver's gloves, by the way. Yeah. Both sticky gloves, and gets both hands on either side of the ball, and he's caught the ball. He now possesses the ball, then gets blown up. I don't know if you can find that, Max Bad. This one was bang, bang. This one was fast, but he still caught it and started running upfield.
If you can find it, Adam, you've proposed your replay GIMP, like no context. Just he just comes up, looks at it, makes a call. Let's do that with Gina. Do we have the clip? Gina, you make the call. Just watch.
Wake up,
Is
Gina.
it a catch or is it not?
Okay.
You know what else?
No context.
No. Yes,
None
you be the
needed.
replay GIMP, Gina. The other
What are we
way,
doing?
the other way to settle this as well
What are we doing?
is if you just. She was texting this whole time. If you
That's
stop.
perfect.
If you stop, we'll see. If you stop the tape, like what I mean is like person catches the ball and starts to move the ball down, you just stop the tape and you go, did he catch that ball? Then everyone would go, yes, he caught that ball. And then after, we'll show you the play. Sorry. It's fast, but he caught it.
Quarterback is an interception fumble, catch fumble, recovered by the Rams. First down.
The Rams jumped right on it. You'll see it again. Does he have control 2 feet down?
Watch Ramsey flipping around. We used to see the Patriots do that all the time. It looks like Ramsey's on a defense to cover down the field, but he never was. I think that's going to be called incomplete.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, you look at this thing.
It's all kind of bumpy.
Call in here for a second.
Gina, you make the call.
Al, you said it right. Control 2 feet down. Then he has to have the ball long enough to perform an act common to the game.
That's
he
a catch.
clearly does not have the ball long enough to perform an act common to the game. This should be reversed to incomplete.
All right, so here's the thing. But here's the thing. Sorry, Gina. He doesn't have the ball long enough. He caught the ball. He got both feet down. He started to make a football move, but didn't have it long enough.
Yeah.
Are we doing a time length thing? How about you catch the ball, you put both feet down, and you start to make a football move? Sorry, Max but none of those were very good. There's one where you can just see him from the sideline just catch the ball and whatever. Gina Grad, replay GIMP.
Yep. It was kind of choppy, but at least from where this GIMP stands, it looked like he almost caught it and then it popped right out. So why would that be considered a catch?
The GIMP is spoken.
The GIMP has spoken.
Jeez.
He almost caught it. All right. Well, we'll show you. You'll see it.
See this one.
Caught it.
Got it.
Turns.
Okay. Yeah.
Gone.
That's a catch.
No, he caught it.
So they'll reverse this.
The guy in the purple, the guy in the aubergine caught it for about a second
All
and a
right,
half.
but so caught it, stopped, turned, gone. Okay, it's split second, but the part was like he didn't have it long enough.
Yeah, no.
So is it like a 3 Mississippi? He caught it, put his feet down on the ground.
It's a list of requirements. It's like a recipe now, for Pete's sake. And the officials, it's unlike college. These guys get $200K a year, plus they get to do an off-season job if they want. They should be on top of this the year on. They shouldn't, quite frankly, need as much preseason as the players. They should be on top of this a little bit. This, it's a pretty good sounding gig, quite frankly.
Well,
I don't know how these rules get so vague and so out of touch. Anyway,
well, I'll tell you.
That item sponsored by
ahead.
Pinocchio's, Nevada's only all puppet brothel. Try our chicken wings. Next, NBA. We touched on the bubble. There's more bubble issues. They threw the house guy out for having someone in his room. But now Rajon Rondo, the Lakers' Rajon Rondo's brother, William, got tossed from a game out of the bubble for heckling Russell Westbrook. And the Rockets lost to the Lakers. They let like 13 people into the arena. One of them's a lippy guy. He gets tossed, but here's the killer. This William Rondo guy, he wasn't just a spectator in there to watch his brother. He's in charge of all the barbers, hairdressers, and manicurists in the bubble. So now the barbers, hairdressers, and manicurists are leaderless. The French tips are already showing sloppiness, I believe, Gina. The cornrows, not clearly up to snuff. No one knows how to cut that Eastern European mullet. It's a mess. They got to get this guy back in the bubble. I mean, I don't know how you toss that guy out.
Can we cut this guy a little slack for being angry, like having anger issues? Because he had his brother the whole time was like Rajon Rondo and a great ball player. This guy's a barber and his name is Bill Rondo. And it was like people had to say to him, like, what's you? I'm Rajon Rondo. Okay, this is my brother. Let me guess. Rhino? No. Rodeo Rondo? Huh? Am I right? Dijon Rondo? No, just Bill. Oh, all right. Well, I like the back of my neck square. So can I get the cape? Like, I like when parents run out of creative juice. Like Rajon Rondo is the greatest name ever. Then you go to Bill after that.
Yeah,
like you just used all your creative name juices on the one kid and just kind of ran out of steam for the next.
Yeah, maybe they hit a wall with Rajon in the sense of or Rajon or however it's pronounced. Just at one point, maybe he's older. He came home and he just went, "Look, this is not working." And they said, "All right, we can't change you, but the next kid up will adjust."
Yes, there's 4 Rondo siblings: Rajon, Diamond.
Oh, Bill's even more pissed now, right?
And Anton, and then there's poor William.
Oh, see this is what's going on. This is an anger issue that's steeped in family issues. He's seeing his kid brother out there playing professional ball. He's in charge of refilling the blue liquid in the comb dispenser, and he's angry. And his name's Bill.
Sure.
Diamond, Rajon, what's the other one's name? Anton.
Yeah.
I got Rajon, Anton, Diamond, and Bill. Not since
I got a blowout in chair 7, Bill. Get the diffuser over here.
Not since the band U2 with the Edge and Bono and Larry has there been this big a gap. Is Bill the oldest, youngest?
I can't tell the order. I'm looking.
He's got to get drunk at Thanksgiving and go, "Come on, Ma. What the fuck, Bill?"
Maybe it wasn't even
Diamond
heckling.
and Rajon over there.
Maybe he wasn't heckling the other guy. Maybe he was heckling his brother. Wasn't heckling Russell Westbrook. He was.
Yeah.
Maybe he was heckling Russell because he liked Russell's first name even better than Bill.
Maybe this is the urban version of a boy named Bill. Like you name him Bill, you grow up tough.
That's right.
Yeah.
He knew he'd have to get tough or die.
Any idea of who's older, who's younger? Is he younger than Rajon? We don't know.
You have to have someone smarter than me look into that.
All right. Well, if they don't have it on a computer, screw it.
I got all I can do reading this crap. That item, incidentally, sponsored by Cantanker Ale. Get cranky. Drink Cantanky. It's got bite.
I like when they have the little power pop at the end. Let me hit Betonline here. Well, the wait is over, everybody. Everybody is back. All the pro football up and running. A lot of good games coming up this weekend. Falcons at Cowboys, Bills at Dolphins, Rams at Eagles. My Rams. Vikings at Colts, Panthers, Buccaneers, Patriots, and Seahawks. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. More options to wager than any place online, from spreads and totals to props. Get in on season opening bonuses and wager on win and division and championship futures as well. Head to BetOnline today. Take advantage of all the new great sign-up bonuses. Visit betonline.ag, our exclusive partner, Podcast One. And don't forget, promo code Podcast One. Sign up for your bonus today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook expert. All right, let's bring it home, Jeff.
Well, let's check the BetOnline line. You got, let's look at the Bet the Farm Friday. We got tie for first place. Brian won, Adam won, and Jeff won their bets. And in second place, Gina with a push on the Chargers. Tonight, huge line moves. Heat versus the Celtics. The line moved huge. Now Miami, it's generally a push here. Miami and the Celtics just about dead even. Nuggets, Clippers, Game 7. Clippers had a huge advantage yesterday. Now, no longer. It's essentially picking both teams at -110. That BetOnline line sponsored by the Hot Dog Ingredients Defense Council. There's mercury in your sushi. Why don't you focus on that? This is Chet Waterhouse for All Balls, All Sports, reminding you to play with pain.
All Balls, All Sports. Presented by BetOnline, your online sportsbook expert.
I love how the Hot Dog Defense Council just kept getting angrier and angrier.
I do love that. Is such a funny concept. Brian, there's action, according to BetOnline. You can get action on any of the 14 Dancing with the Stars contestants, but not Johnny Weir.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. His odds are locked.
I don't know what that means, but
That means probably too much money came in on Johnny Weir.
Probably means I'm on the right track. All right. I want to thank Perez Hilton for coming in here as best he could with the occasional technological problem. Tempe, Arizona this weekend, everyone, the 18th and the 19th. That's right. We'll do live pod there. We'll do live stand-up there. John Holmberg's going to be there, and then Rob Schneider will be there on Saturday, so we'll be live doing it up there. Salt Lake City coming after that. Wise Guys, October 2nd and 3rd as well. I'm your emotional support animal. My book is available as we speak on Amazon. Write a review. I shall read it. And until next time, I'm Carolla for Perez Hilton and Gina Grad and Bald Brian and Jeff Cesario saying mahalo.